Hey everybody, on this week of the podcast, we are going to introduce secret societies at a different level than we did last time. This is part 2, but we're actually going to go all the way back to the origins of secret societies and their surprising roots in connections with Islam. So it's going to be pretty cool. I think you're going to enjoy it. And we're going to carry that on through as we move forward. Sit back, grab a coffee, and enjoy.
You're listening to the All Out War podcast.
What's up, warriors? Welcome to another episode of All Out War. I'm Turner, and I am in the studio with Rosie. What's up, Rosie?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, it's a good day.
We are recording this on Father's Day.
Yep.
And I got a really unexpected cool gift for Father's Day from my family.
Mm-hmm.
I got AirPods.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big Apple guy.
I'm not.
This has been a crazy Apple weekend for me because my phone that I had, I had an iPhone 6S, and I had it for about 3.5 years or so, and it finally was like it would not hold a charge. You know, the iPhone Achilles heel is their batteries.
Yeah.
They just can't build a phone with a battery that lasts or hold a charge long.
Yeah.
I just think they're power hungry. The device is power hungry, but so the batteries stopped holding a charge real well. I mean, you'd have to basically leave it on the charger all day. And you like take it off, and like if I listen to like one of our podcasts, it would be at like, if it was fully charged when I started, it'd be at like 40%.
Oh wow.
And like
that's bad.
Yeah, it's horrible. And so, and my wife we got our phones at the same time, so hers was doing the same thing, and hers just wasn't as effective for her because of where she works. She can't even bring her iPhone into work. Like she can't bring her phone into her.
Yeah, so it doesn't.
So she just leaves it in her car and all day, but I'm on mine all day. So anyways, we got new phones this weekend, and then I didn't know it, but she had purchased AirPods. So I have a brand new phone and AirPods. I mean, I'm like super set up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
My kids are envious of me. They're like, Dad, you have a new phone and AirPods? Like, what'd you do? I'm like, I had kids. I'm a father. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways.
Yeah.
So that was my thing.
That's awesome.
That was a good thing that happened, but we had some crazy stuff happen this past week.
Yeah, we did.
You and I both on the same day.
Yeah, a couple hours apart.
Yeah, and I don't know what's up with that. I still haven't figured out if that's actually if that was like a, I don't know. Well, we'll tell the story and we'll let the listener decide.
Well, yeah.
You want to tell the story? You want to start?
No, maybe we'll just not tell a story. Well, we can just say, at least for me, so I had a weird experience on Monday, which is when you had the stuff happen. And anyways, long story short, thought there was someone in the house, and I usually am not one to freak out very much. Yeah. Not that I'm like some super hardcore dude that doesn't get scared, you know, but you know, I've lived on my own for years and years, and you know, weird stuff happens, and I'm just kind of like, okay, that just happened, whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, long story short, thought someone was in the house, and ended up calling the cops to come check it out. There was no one in the house, and without going into all the details, I definitely heard. So, the reason I say, you know, I am not one to easily freak out. Yeah. There's something in the house. Something was in the house. There was something. For sure, yeah. For sure. And the cops came, they cleared the whole house, spent like 10 minutes. My dog was acting weird. You know, there's stuff going on there. And then that night, you know, after that stuff happened, had some weird stuff happen at night, got like sleep paralysis at least 3 times. Man. I just kept waking up and was, you know, in sleep paralysis. And, and there's you know, it happens to me fairly often, but not like
the sleep paralysis does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate about that too. Like, what is sleep paralysis? Yeah. I heard a really cool podcast on that from Peer Normal, not paranormal, but Peer Normal, like your peer. They did a whole episode on sleep paralysis. They did all these peer review studies and stuff, and it's a great podcast. You guys should check it out if you get a chance. But did you find anything in the house that had been disturbed or anything like?
Well, I don't know, because the cops they went through everything, so they were looking under beds, opening up closets. Yeah,
so if there was something, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, they opened closets, opened all the doors. They were in there for like 10 minutes.
Nothing missing at all?
Not that I know of.
No medicines were stolen or anything like that?
No, we don't have anything.
Okay.
But yeah, and then anyways, I hasten to say this. Yeah. But I definitely saw a full body apparition.
Oh my goodness.
The same night.
The same night?
No, it was the next night. Yeah.
Holy cow.
And my alarm clock's been...
Yeah, you texted me, but I never... What happened with your alarm clock? Because you were like...
It's been going off at like 10 at night.
For no reason?
For no reason.
Do you use like an old plug-in alarm clock?
Yeah.
Why? Why not use your phone?
I do.
Oh. You set multiple alarms?
Yeah, I have a lot of alarms.
You're one of those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so my phone alarm was going off at like 10 every night. Turned off the alarm, unplugged it, plugged it back in. And it's not like... It's like an old...
Yeah. Digital.
$10 one from Walmart. Right. It's super cheap. My buddy gave it to me, so it's like really old.
Yeah.
And it's just the the big numbers and everything. So it's not super smart. It just sets the alarm. You unplug it or the power goes out, and it resets it. Like it doesn't have memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it just
started like 10 o'clock at night.
What time was it when you saw the apparition?
10
o'clock.
No, later than that, like as I was going to bed.
What'd you do, man? Did you rebuke it, like in Jesus' name, or?
Yeah. I prayed a lot.
Did it go away? Like, did it?
Yeah, I just like saw it like out of the corner of my eye, and I just, I don't know. I see a lot of, there's the way my room's set up. There's like an area where I just saw. Like usually, I'll just I'll be looking at somewhere and I'll see movement.
Yeah.
And so I'll just catch out of the corner of my eye something moving.
Yeah.
That isn't my dog or a cat or something like that.
Right.
And this time I looked and I saw like a thing move to the side out of view.
You just imitated it to
the
side. It went like that.
Yeah. And I was like, well, this is happening.
Wow. Wow, man.
So.
Well, mine wasn't nearly as sketch as that. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Mine was pretty simple. I mean, it was like a traditional,
Yeah. Yeah.
I walked into to where I work, and I was the only one there in the entire building. Nobody was there. And we share a building with another. There's a church that shares part of our building, and they rent out part of it, and it's like sectioned off.
Yeah.
Like we can't get into their section, they can't get into ours. But I walked in first thing Monday morning, first one in the building, and I'm turning on some lights, and I hear a door slam. So I decide, well, what was that? So I go out and I look out in the parking lot. My car's the only car there. Mm-hmm. So I go back and I grab my backpack and I got my protection out of my backpack, and I decided to just sweep the building. So I walked through the entire building, didn't find anything, didn't find anyone. Later on that morning, when other people started to arrive, during one of our meetings, I just like in a break between the meetings, I was like, hey, do you guys ever like notice weird noises and stuff when you're here, like by yourself? Because this is like the second or third time this has happened to me. And one of my coworkers, she's like, oh yeah, she used to clean the building with her husband. Mm-hmm. And she goes, it got so bad occasionally that I just had to put earbuds in just to ignore it. Jeez. And I'm like, what? So we might have to take some anointing oil and just like use a mop and just go through the entire building, mopping the floors and washing down. But we'll only be there for another couple months, so we're leaving that building soon. So
yeah,
but
yeah, I was gonna say it was interesting. I talked to my sister, and she's had weird stuff happen like as long as she can remember. So I don't know.
At your house?
Yeah.
Locations have something to do with this.
Yeah,
that's pretty key. I'm sure I haven't done any in-depth studying, but I'm pretty certain that there's certain locations that have more activity of this kind of bizarre stuff.
Yeah,
this paranormal.
Yeah, but anyway, we chalked it up to. I guess we're getting some.
We're targets.
Getting some stuff back.
We're on the highway to the danger zone. You're a goose. Or I'm Goose. You're Maverick.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why I made that correlation.
It's okay.
I just did.
Well,
I'm old.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You are.
Shut it. Hey, man, what do you know?
Hey, so did you know that there is a law? It's called the Guano Islands Act.
All right.
Okay. So it was the Guano Act. The Guano Islands Act was enacted on August 18, 1856, as a United States federal law passed by Congress, so it's legit law, that enables citizens of the United States to take possession of unclaimed islands containing guano deposits.
What is guano?
Bird and bat poop.
Wait a second. An unclaimed island that has bird poop on it, you can claim it?
That's all you need.
Is it still an active law?
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
I want my own island.
The islands can be located anywhere so long as they are not occupied and not within the jurisdiction of another government. It also empowers the President of the United States to use the military to protect such interests and establishes the criminal jurisdiction of the United States in these territories. So basically,
dude,
if you stumble onto an island,
right,
and there has to be poop on it, there has to be poop on that. That's
now we know why those pirates always had a parrot on their shoulder.
So they could poop on it and claim it in America.
go to the bathroom, Polly.
Yeah. So
the cussing parrot that pooped.
Thomas Jefferson. Yeah.
Remember you were talking about
Oh, yeah. Man. So if you are out there and you want to find an island and claim it in the mayor.
No, that's our secret. Why didn't you just tell me that? We would have gone on a road trip down to like North Carolina and down the coast. I bet you every island in the Keys has been claimed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
There's got to be one somewhere not found. And it within the jurisdiction of the United States.
No, it doesn't have to be in the jurisdiction. It just doesn't have to be in the. It has to not be. No other country can claim it already.
Yeah.
So if you find an undiscovered island, and it can be of any size,
oh my God,
as long as there's bird poop on it, if there's guano on it, it has to have
bird poop,
the poop on it,
bat or bird poop, which means it has to be within a certain space of land. Like distance.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be off
50 miles offshore.
No, it could be like off the coast of Brazil. But if they don't know about it, and you can just say there's bird poop,
or no one's just claimed it, they just drive by it all the time on their ships and stuff, and they just never. Dude.
So there you go. So go.
We need an all-out war island.
Yeah.
Where we can set up shop and do our recordings and set up our studio there and just get suntan, fish.
Well, I think any island worth its salt by now has been claimed. So it's going to be like...
Quit killing my dream. All right.
Okay.
I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
All right. Dude, that's cool though. I like that. Was good. That was a good did you know.
Yeah.
So if you find an island, if you're listening to this, then claim it and let us come hang out with you.
Yeah.
We'll do a remote.
Or don't tell us about it.
Yeah.
Don't tell the government, because then it becomes government property.
Oh, right.
And we want it to not be government property.
There you go. That's right.
Claim it for ourselves.
Claim it for ourselves. Make sure it's got poop.
Got to poop.
They say this is a really crappy island you have here. You can have it.
There's so much poop. There's all doo-doo everywhere.
Dude. Guac.
Dookie Island.
Guamo. What did you call it?
Guano.
Guano.
Yeah, guano's just a deposit of poop of bird and bat poop.
It's just bird and bat. It's not any other feces. It's
correct.
Okay. I could leave a guano in my toilet every morning.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, if you can't go on a boat and just bring a lot of Taco Bell and then go there when you finally hit the island and you're like, I've been waiting 3 days to save it.
Noah was the original one. Like he sent that dove out.
And went poop?
He said, it's all mine, whatever you find.
He's just pooping everywhere. What do you think he was just hoping? He was like, bird, just have God please give this dove so much poop to splatter across the earth. And as far as the east is from the west, just poop over everything, dove.
Oh my gosh. The earth was such a mess anyways. That's why God's like, I'm gonna kill it off and drown them. Oh man. It came back with the olive branch, which is crazy because they were like as high as the mountains.
Yeah.
And olive trees aren't known to grow up high, but they're actually a super resilient plant. A lot of people don't realize that. Anyways, we get on these little tangents for no reason.
I think they're fun.
Yeah. So we had a great episode today. We're going to continue in our secret societies, and we have a great resource that you, Rosie, you found it, and we've been going through it together a little bit, and so we're going to use that to kind of bounce off some conversation and talk about some of these secret societies that are really some of the originators of the secret societies and how kind of they came about. And we didn't really go over this too much in our last time. We just went over some of the 1,000-foot view of some of the more well-known, and we will actually dig deeper into some of those a little bit later on.
Yeah, but this book has a lot of good stuff about secret societies that you probably never heard of these.
Yeah, and you'll know this. I kind of knew a little bit about it, but it really definitely drove home. There's a popular video game that's out called Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed is based off of secret society.
Yeah.
And if you played the game, I've played it a little bit. I don't know if have you played it much? Yeah. I haven't played it a whole lot. We have it, but I just haven't spent time with it. But when I'm reading through this first couple that we're going to go through tonight, it reminded me I wonder if the game was pulled out of some of this stuff, or if it was off, like directly off of this, particular secret society.
It might have been, because I don't know, maybe they did.
Well, there's one thing that I learned about, and I'll just read it right now. We'll go at the beginning, but I just want to read this in relation to that.
Yeah.
Like this one line that I read about, which was really interesting. It said that, hold on one second. Let me look here. So it's connected to Muslims.
Yeah.
And it was talking about how this particular creed of Muslims were, basically, I'll have to find it. I can't find it right now, but basically they were assassins. Yeah. And here it is. It says the assassins carried on in the battle on two fronts against the Crusaders. They fought whichever side in the Crusades served their purposes. So they were either fighting with the Muslims or against the Muslims. Mm-hmm. And it says they fought for whoever served their purposes, and at the same time they continued the struggle against the Persians. So we're talking about the Assassins, which is what we're gonna start off with, which is the beginning of the origins of a group called the Assassins, but they have a different name as well. But they are assassins. Yeah. So do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and so we're reading this. So it has it's an old book from the '60s that, like I said, I found just really randomly. I've never heard it used before.
And I've never, what's amazing about this resource is that you don't hear it quoted often.
Never.
So it's either completely wrong all the way, but it has all these awards.
Yeah.
It's won all these different awards, the UNESCO World Book Award, different things like that. So.
Yeah, the author is not but I was going to say, we could say, and I was going to say this. We don't want to say the name of the book because we don't want to give anything away.
Right.
We want you to listen to it. So at the end of it, we'll show you where you can buy the book.
Yeah. We'll put a link in it at some point. Not at the end of this one. You got to listen to like all the series.
Yeah. So but there's some, this is really interesting. And, but I just preface this by saying it's a book and it's written as with some narrative.
Yeah.
And so you'll have to go with us as well. There's a lot of, Arab names. So,
we'll kill them. We'll butcher them.
Yeah.
We're not Chapter 1. I'll do those. I'll do that part.
Well, no. So anyway, these are they're called the Assassins, or like the Assassin Organization, and they're also called the Ishmaelites.
Yeah.
Ishmaelites. So those are the important things. So sit back and enjoy. Yeah. All right. So 2 men in the year 1092 stood on the ramparts of a medieval castle called the Eagle's Nest, which is really interesting. I just thought of this quote. Hitler, he had up in the Edelweiss Mountains, they had the Eagle's Nest. I've been there. It's really cool.
Oh, you've been there?
Yeah. And
that was like his retreat home, wasn't it?
It was. And it's on the top of this mountain where he stored, I'm pretty sure that's where he stored all the really valuable stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you go in the elevator, they still have the same elevator. It's all mirrored.
Really?
The entire thing, because he had a fear of, I think Hitler was claustrophobic.
Oh.
So it's like this gold brass, but you can see yourself in it.
Yeah.
And it's all the way around, like all the walls are. So you can, it's not like, our metal ones where it's just, you're box. Stuck in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's interesting to know.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I think it's Edelweiss. I think it's in Switzerland.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
It's in the Alps. So anyways, that's just interesting that he also called it the Eagle's Nest.
Yeah.
All right. So, so 2 men in the year 1092 stood on the ramparts of a medieval castle, perched high upon the crags of the Persian mountains. The personal representative of the emperor, and the veiled figure who claimed to be the incarnation of God on earth. His name was Hassan, son of Saba. He was the sheik of the mountains and the leader of the assassins. He spoke, "Do you see that devotee that's standing guard on yonder turret top? Watch." He made a signal. Instantly, the white-robed figure threw up his hands in salutation and cast himself 2,000 feet into the foaming torrent which surrounded the fortress. "I have 70,000 men and women throughout Asia. Each one of them is ready to do my bidding. Can your master, Malik Shah, say the same? And he asked me to surrender to his sovereignty? This is your answer. Go." Such a scene may be worthy of the most exaggerated of horror films, and yet it took place in historical fact. The only quibble made by the Chronicle of the time was that Hassan's devotees numbered only about 40,000. So a lot of people back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was still lying.
Yeah,
he said 70,000.
Well,
he only had like 40,000.
Yeah, anyway, so.
Just double his numbers.
Well, people do that. How this man, Saba, came by his uncanny power, and how his devotees struck terror into the hearts of the men from the Caspian to Egypt, is one of the most extraordinary of all tales of secret societies. Today, the sect of Hashashin, called the Druggers, still
smoking that sticky green stuff.
That's not the right word, but
the Druggers. That's where they get the word
hashish.
Okay. They're called the Hashers. The
Hashashin.
Hashishim.
Yeah. Okay. I totally missed that when I read it the first time. I like that. Yeah.
Sorry.
Good. No, it's good. So today, the sect of the Druggers still exists in the form of the Ishmaelites, whose undisputed chief, endowed by them with divine attributes, is the Aga Khan. Like many another secret cult, the assassin organization was based upon an earlier association. In order to understand how they worked and what their objectives are, we must begin with these roots. It must be remembered that the followers of Islam in the 7th century AD split into two divisions: the Orthodox, who regard Muhammad as the bringer of divine inspirations, and the Shias, who consider that Ali, his successor, the 4th Imam, was more important. It is with the Shias that we are concerned here. So, just for some historical context, or nowadays, which is interesting in what you were talking about later on when they that they were fighting with Christians and against the Persians and against whoever they wanted to. So when you hear the Sunni, those are the more Orthodox. So that's where you have the split. Just so people know,
the Shiite and the Sunni Muslims.
Yeah, the Shiite or the Shia and then the Sunni. So and they've been always fighting over each other, and this is the reason why.
So it came through from this, and
well, not through this, but that division that I just read about.
Yeah,
who is more important, basically? Who is the?
So the Orthodox would believe that Muhammad was the successor of, or brought forth the divine inspiration.
Well, I think they both.
But the Shiites believed that Ali, who was like the 4th descendant from Muhammad, was more important than Muhammad.
Yeah.
So it was it was really a divide on who you were following.
Who do we still follow?
Yeah, it's like some follow Paul, some follow Apollos.
Yeah.
But I follow Jesus.
But this would be like if the
Abraham and Moses, who's more important?
Well, yeah,
right.
No, it would almost be like, all right, Jesus is the most important. We all believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
One believes in Paul, one believes in Jesus, and then someone believes in like Augustine, and they put Augustine
on par with Jesus.
On par, yeah. So that's kind of like this.
So they were definitely a cult in that sense.
A cult within a death cult?
Within a cult. How do you have a cult within a cult? I guess it is.
Yeah. So anyways, so that's just some interesting context for people that may not understand why the Sunnis and Shias are fighting all the time. They kill each other all the time.
Since 1020, 92. But
before that.
Also too, Ali, A-L-I, is the guy's name that they believed was more important than Muhammad. Mm-hmm. There were like several secret sects that were devoted to him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So they're all under the auspices,
the Shia.
Under the
umbrella of the
Shia. Yeah.
Okay.
So from the beginning of the split in the early days of Islam, the Shias relied for survival upon secrecy, organization, and initiation. Although the minority party in Islam, they believed that they could overcome the majority and eventually the whole world by superior organization and power. And so this is, I was going to say for some, we keep stopping, we're not going to get all the way through, but I'll keep it. It's interesting now when you had, I think Saddam Hussein, that's what they do all the time. You get these minority powers get into power, and they just ransack and kill everybody else. So it's always, no matter who's in power, even the minority or the majority, they're always killing each other.
Yeah.
But just some more. To this end, they started a number of societies which practiced secret rites, in which the personality of Ali was worshipped, and whose rank and file were trained to struggle above all for the accomplishment of world domination. One of the most successful secret societies that the Shia founded was centered around the abode of learning in Cairo, which was their training ground for fanatics who were conditioned by the most cunning methods to believe in a special divine mission. In order to do this, the original democratic Islamic ideals had to be overcome by skilled teachers, acting under the orders of the Caliph of the Fatimites, which ruled Egypt at that time. I just want to say the democratic Islamic ideas.
Well, what's funny is like their initial way to get in is through teachers.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Does sound familiar.
It's like get into the
education system.
And indoctrinate young.
Exactly.
And early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Members were enrolled on the understanding that they were to receive hidden power and timeless wisdom, which would enable them to become as important in life as some of the teachers. And the Caliph saw to it that the instructors were no ordinary men. The supreme judge was one of them. Another was the commander-in-chief of the army. A third, the minister of the court. There was no lack of applicants. In any country where the highest officials of the realm formed a body of teachers, one would find the same thing. Classes were divided into study groups, some composed of men, others of women, collectively termed assemblies of wisdom. All lessons were carefully prepared, written down, and submitted to the Caliph for his seal. At the end of the lecture, all present kissed the seal. For did the Caliph not claim direct descent from Muhammad through his son Ali, and thence from Ishmael, the seventh Imam? That's a question, so they kiss him because they believe he is a descendant. He was the embodiment of divinity far more than any Tibetan Lama ever was. You want to read some?
Yeah, so basically they're setting up an education system of indoctrination to the secret society.
Yeah.
And so what they're going to do is they're going to set up this education system, and they're going to devise 9 degrees of initiation. So that's where we get, like, when we talked last week, we talked about there's 30 something degrees.
33 degrees.
30 degrees of Masonic, levels of Masonic Freemasonry. And so on this particular, it's actually called the Old Men of the Mountain Society, I guess is what it's called, or at least that's what.
Well, they called the Sheikh Hassan was the old man in the mountain.
Hassan, yeah. So he was the old man. So let's go over some of these. It says here, the real purpose was the complete transformation of the mind of the student. So that's the purpose behind these degrees. And it says students had to pass through 9 degrees of initiation. In the first, the teachers threw their pupils into a state of doubt about all conventional ideas, religious and political. They used false analogy and every other device of argument to make the aspiration
aspirant.
Sorry, I've never even seen that word. Aspirant believe that he had been taught by his previous mentors was prejudiced and capable of being challenged. The effect of this, according to the Arab historian Makarizi, was to cause him to lean upon the personality of the teacher as the only possible source of proper interpretation of facts. At the same time, the teachers hinted continually that formal knowledge was merely a cloak for hidden inner and powerful truth, whose secrets would be imparted when the youth was ready to receive it. This confusion technique was carried out until the student reached the stage where he was prepared to swear a vow of blind allegiance to one or other of his teachers. This oath, together with certain secret signs, was administered in due course, and the candidate was awarded the first degree of initiation. So, first, create doubt on everything that they've learned before, trust in the guru, the teacher in front of you, and then we're going to have rites of passage as you move through. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's almost like leveling up,
Yeah. But I mean, that's a classic brainwashing technique that cults today still uses.
100%.
First, they got to break you down mentally.
Yeah.
Make you doubt everything.
Like deprogram and then reprogram.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was degree 1. Second degree, they took the form of initiation into the fact that the imams, successors of Muhammad, parentheses there, were the true only source of secret knowledge and power. So that they were like, you gotta believe this, that the imams have all the secret powers. You gotta put all your trust in them, basically. Imams inspired the teachers. Therefore, the student was to acknowledge every saying and act of his appointed guides as blessed and divinely inspired. Wow. So they're speaking for God, I suppose. In the third degree, so we're up to level 3 now, the esoteric names of the 7 imams were revealed, and the secret words by which they could be conjured, and by which the powers inherent in the very repetition of their names could be liberated and used for the individual, especially in the service of the sect. In the 4th degree, the succession of the 7 mystical lawgivers and magical personalities was given to the learner. These were characterized by Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and Ismail. There are 7 mystical helpers: Seth, Shem, Ishmael, Aaron, Simon, I'm assuming Simon is Peter, Ali, and Mohammed, the son of Ishmael. This last was dead, but Ismael was dead, but had a mysterious deputy who was the Lord of the Time. So they have another guy named the Lord of the Time, authorized to give his instructions to the people of the truth, as the Ismailis called themselves. This hidden figure gave the Caliph the power to pretend that he was acting under even higher instructions. So they would have these degrees of learning through different people. Then you get to the 5th degree. It named the 12 apostles under the 7 prophets, whose names and functions and magical powers were described. In this degree, the power to influence others by means of personal concentration was supposed to be taught. One writer claims that this was done merely by the repetition for a period of 3 years to train the mind of the magical word akzabti. Akzabti. I thought I was going to say abracadabra, but we're at level 6. You want me to just go through the 9 and then I'll hand it back over to you?
Yeah.
Okay, level 6, to obtain the 6th degree, involved instruction in the methods of analytical and destructive argument, in which the postulant had to pass a stiff examination. The 7th degree brought revelation of the great secret, yes, that all humanity and all creation were one, and every single thing was part of the whole, which included the creative and destructive power. But as an Ismaili, the individual could make use of the power which was ready to be awakened within him and overcome those who knew nothing of the immense potential of the rest of humanity. This power came through the aid of the mysterious power called the Lord of the Time. To qualify for the 8th degree, the aspirant had to believe that all religion, philosophy, and the like were fraudulent. All that mattered was the individual, who could attain fulfillment only through servitude to the greatest developed power, the Imam. The 9th and the last degree brought the revelation of the sect that there was no such thing as belief. All that mattered was action, and the only processor of the reasons for carrying out any action was the chief of the sect. So that would be your 9 degrees of initiation of brainwashing.
Yeah,
essentially.
And what's really interesting is, as you see, it starts off with, you're going to learn who these teachers are. You're going to get a little taste of this. Then you're going to, it's very odd that it's almost very Buddhist in the way of the transcendence and the secrets itself.
Yeah.
Like 3 years training the mind on the repetition of a single word. That's they use it now if you go to like yoga or something like that. The oming.
Oh, yeah.
It's to clear the mind, and you're focusing on this nonsensical word, which is demonic. That the act of clearing the mind and trying to reach a higher consciousness by only focusing on this word. And I don't know this word, what it means, but it looks like just the way that it's brought up.
Yeah.
It's probably some nonsense thing that they're just focusing on, basically this sound. So yeah, it's very difficult, and it's dangerous for people to do that. We're told to use all of our faculties.
Yeah, totally.
To think rationally and critically, and so it's interesting. They have these like Buddhist things, and then going to the 7th degree, that everything is part of the whole. It's a very Buddhist thing, that everything is Brahman. Everyone is one, everything is one. And then it's interesting, as you get higher up, it starts telling you that all this stuff, even that you already believed, that you were taught, isn't actually true. So once you get to a high, so there's someone at the 7th level and someone at the 8th level. The 8th level would say, this dude doesn't even wait till he gets a load of this next stuff, because it's going to blow his mind even more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of contradictory.
That word that they were called to repeat, that Aksabati or whatever it is, who wishes to use our shade is the question mark. Then the Balakava asked, I have been instructed by the Overlord to ask a favor of the Kahanakaya. So I don't even know what any of that means. It's just,
So that's what the definition of it said?
It's just, yeah, when you Google it, it comes up with all this Chinese things, and then it had like one legit thing there. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. So anyways, it's probably a nonsense word, like I was saying.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So there you go.
As you keep going up, it's interesting that, there's only the Imam. Religion is all silly. Everything's silly. Only this one person. So anyways, as a secret society, I'll continue on. The organization of the Ismailis, as outlined above, was undoubtedly powerful and seemed likely to produce a large number of devotees who would blindly obey the orders of whomever was in control of the edifice. But As with other bodies of this kind, there were severe limitations from the point of view of effectiveness, which makes sense. Perhaps the phase of revolt or subversion planned by the society did not in the end get underway. Perhaps it was not intended to work by any other means than training the individual. Be that as it may, its real success extended abroad only in 1058 to Baghdad, where a member gained temporary control of Baghdad and coined money in the Egyptian caliph's name. So here they start to get power. This sultan was slain by the Turks, who now entered the picture, and the Cairo headquarters was also threatened. By 1123, the society was closed down by Vizier Afdal. The rise of Turkish power seemed to have discouraged the expansionist Cairo sect so strongly that they almost faded out, and little is heard of them after that date. It was left to Hassan, son of Saba, the old man of the mountains, to perfect the system of this ailing secret society, and found an organization which has endured for nearly another 2,000 years. So what he's hinting out there is it's still happening now in one form or another. So here we go. Who was Hassan? He was the son of a Shia in Khorasan, a most bigoted man who claimed that his ancestors were Arabs from Kaffa. This assumption was probably due to the fact that such a lineage bolstered up claims to religious importance, then as now among Muslims. So, he's trying to boost himself up as being a rightful, heir. The people of the neighborhood, many of them also Shias, stated very divisively that this Ali was a Persian, and so were his forebears. It is generally thought that this is the truer version. As the governor of the province was an Orthodox Muslim, Ali spared no efforts to assume the same guise. This is considered to be completely permissible. It's called the doctrine of intelligent dissimulation, as there is no doubts to his reliability in the religious sense. He retired into a monastic retreat and sent his son Hassan to an Orthodox school. The school was no ordinary one. It was a circle of disciples. It was a circle of disciples presided over by an redoubtable Imam Mafwaki. I'm sorry. About whom it is said that every individual who enrolled under him eventually rose to great power. So Hassan gets sent to the school. It is here that Hassan met Omar Khayyami, a tent maker, poet, and astronomer, related to be the poet laureate of Persia.
Wow.
Big guy. Another of his schoolmates was Nizam ul Mulk, who rose from peasanthood to become a prime minister. These three made a pact, according to Nizam's autobiography, whereby whichever rose to high office first would help the others. Nizam the courtier became vizier to the Alp Arslan, the Turkish Sultan of Persia, in a relatively short time. He helped Omar in accordance with his vow and secured him a pension which gave him a life of ease and indulgence in his beloved Nishapur, where many of his Rubaiyat poems were written. Meanwhile, Hassan remained in obscurity, wandering through the Middle East, waiting for his chance to attain the power of which he had dreamed. Arslan the Lion died and was succeeded by Malik Shah. Suddenly, Hassan presented himself to Nizam, demanding to be given a place at court. Delighted to fulfill his childhood vow, the vizier obtained him a favored place, and relates what transpired thus in his autobiography. So, he's wandering around, his buddies get into power, and eventually, he gets into power as well from his buddy giving him a favor.
Yeah.
I had made him a minister by my strong and extravagant recommendations. Like his father, however, he proved to be a fraud, hypocrite, and self-seeking villain. He was so clever at dissimulation that he appeared to be pious when he was not, and before long he had somehow completely captured the mind of the Shah. Malik Shah was young, and Hassan was trained in the Shia art of winning people over by apparent honesty. But Nizam was still the most important man in the realm, with an impressive record of honest dealing and achievements. Hassan decided to eliminate him. You want to do some reading?
Sure. So Hassan's making his way up.
Yeah.
He's got his little foothold in the place of authority. And
that his childhood friend gave to him.
Yeah, because of their little pact. That's actually not a bad idea.
No.
Find kids that are going to be better than you and just be like, hey, let's make a pact. We'll help each other. And then you just ride their coattails.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're lazy. All right. The king had asked in that year of 1078 for a complete accounting of the revenue and the expenditure of the empire. And Nizam told him that this would take over a year. Hassan, on the other hand, claimed that the whole work could be done in 40 days and offered to prove it. The task was assigned to him, and the accountants were prepared in the specified time. Something went wrong at this point. The balance of historical opinion holds that Nizam struck back at the last moment, saying, "By Allah, this man will destroy us all unless he is rendered harmless, though I cannot kill my playmate." So he's hearkening back to his friendship there.
Yeah.
Whatever the truth may be, it seems that Nizam managed to have much disparities introduced into the final calligraphic version of the accounts, that when Hassan started to read them, they appeared so absurd that the Shia, in fury, ordered him to be exiled. As he had claimed to have written the accounts in his own hand, Hassan, who could not justify their incredible deficiencies.
Yeah, so basically...
He lied.
So Nizam, the ruler, sees that, so Hassan says, "I'm going to do this thing that's going to take years. I can do it in 40 days.
Right.
Give me all the money."
Right.
So then they go to get the money. Nazim, the guy who's in charge, that knows that his friend Hassan...
He's just skimming it off the top or something?
No. He knows that he has to get rid of him. Because he
Oh.
knows that this guy's a liar. So this is what it says, is that he had someone go in at the last minute and change the records.
Oh, gotcha.
So that
set him up.
So that when Hassan... Because he says he couldn't kill him. So Hassan goes to read it, and he's basically claiming, you turn in a paper.
Yeah.
And
someone behind your back went...
Someone went in and actually, plagiarized within that or messed something up. And you say, "Oh, no, this is my own work."
Yeah.
And so he goes before the Shah, and he says all this thing. And because it's in his own handwriting that he appeared, he thinks that he did it himself. The Shah is so mad at all the discrepancies and all these errors that he's like, "You're out of here." So that's what that happened.
Yeah. So Hassan gets kicked out. And it says Hassan had friends in Isfahan, where he immediately fled. There survives a record of what he said there, which sheds interesting light upon what was in his mind. One of these friends, Abu al-Fazal, wow, that came off really good, notes that Hassan, after reciting the bitter tale of his downfall, shouted these words in a state of uncontrollable rage: "If I had just two devotees who would stand by me, then I would cause the downfall of that Turk and that peasant." Fazal concluded that Hassan had taken leave of his senses and tried to get him out of his ugly mood. Hassan took umbrage and insisted that he was working out on a plan that would have his revenge. He set off for Egypt there to mature his plans. So he's really upset.
Yeah.
And his buddy thinks he's insane, and he's actually hatching a plan to go and take down the dudes that made him look stupid.
Yeah.
Took away his glory.
Yeah.
He took away my glory.
Basically took his chance. He sees it as, I was going to use my friends to get into power.
Yeah.
And he has no problem killing his friends, but his friends are good people. And they're like, "No, this guy's crazy, but we don't want to kill him."
Right.
So then he said, so then he goes back and he's like, "I'm going to build an army. I will be powerful. I'm going to destroy this guy.
I'm going to take them out."
Yeah, so he goes to Egypt.
Do you want me to keep reading?
Yeah.
Okay. Fazal was himself later to become a devotee of the assassin chief, and Hassan 2 decades later reminded him of that day in Isfahan. "Here I am, at Almut, master of all I survey, and more. The sultan and the peasant vizier are dead. Have I not kept my vow? Was I the madman you thought me to be? I found my 2 devotees who were necessary to my plans." Hassan himself takes up the story of how his fortunes fared after the flight from Persia. He had been brought up in the secret doctrines of Ismailism. There we go. I'll get it right. And recognized the possibilities of the power inherent in such a system. He knew that in Cairo there were powerful nucleus of society, and if we are to believe the words of Fazal, he already had a plan whereby he could turn his followers into disciplined devoted fanatics, willing to die for a leader. What was this plan? He had decided that it was not enough to promise paradise fulfillment, eternal joy to people. He would actually show it to them, show it in the form of an artificial paradise where Horus played and fountains gushed in scented waters, where every sensual wish was granted amid beautiful flowers, gilded pavilions, and this was what he eventually did. So he's got this plan to build a paradise to recruit people into his new army and cult and secret society.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy. it says that Hassan chose a hidden valley in the site of his paradise, described by Marco Polo, who passed that way in 1271. So, 100 years later or whatever.
Yeah, it's still there.
Marco Polo is going to go by and remark on it. So I'll just read a little bit more, and then I'll let you take over here. It just says, in this beautiful valley enclosed between two lofty mountains, he had formed a luxurious garden, stored every delicious fruit and every fragrant shrub that could be procured. Palaces of various sizes and forms were erected in the different parts of the grounds, ornamented with works of gold, with paintings, and with furniture of rich silks. By means of small conduits contained in these buildings, streams of wine, milk, honey, and some pure water were seen to flow in every direction. So he's literally got running water and wine and milk and honey. Milk and honey is an interesting thing. I learned this when I was in Israel years ago. When the Bible talks about milk and honey, this is kind of cool. It's goat's milk, and it's date honey. So it wasn't talking about like bee honey and cow's milk. It was goat's milk, which was much more common. Goats are indigenous to that area, and date honey, which is really good, by the way, and it's actually probably just as good for you as regular honey, unless you're doing keto, then it's probably not good for you, but it's natural. Date honey is amazing. They use it to cook in, and dates are really cool. They're awesome to sweeten stuff, and anyways, that's what they were talking about. So milk and honey, baby. That's when Israel would be flowing with milk and honey, and they went in many years before this. So it goes on to describe this guy's making this incredible, it's this incredible place of where they would just, it was like a valley of like just awesome, I don't know the right wording I'm looking for, but, so he's setting it up. And it says, let me see where we are. The inhabitants of these places were elegant, beautiful, and beautiful damsels accomplished in the arts of singing, playing upon all sorts of musical instruments, dancing, and especially those of dalliance and amorous allurement. In other words, they're prostitutes, or whatever you want to, whores. Clothed in rich dresses, they were seen continually sporting and assuming themselves in the garden, in the pavilions, their female guardians being confined within doors and never allowed to appear. The object of the chief the object which the chief had in view in forming a garden of this fascinating kind was that the Mahomet, having promised to those that should obey his will in the enjoyments of paradise, where every species of sensual gratification should be found in this society of beautiful nymphs, he was desirous of it being understood by his followers that he was also a prophet and a compeer of Mahomet. Is that a different spelling of Muhammad?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Because it spells it like Muhammad in a different place in the book. Okay. So I meant to say Muhammad. It's going to be a fatwa on my head for saying his name wrong. And had the power of admitting to paradise such as he should choose it to favor. In order for that none without his license should find their way into this delicious valley, he caused a strong and impregnable castle to be erected at the opening to it, through which the entry was by a secret passage. So he created a walled-up valley, and you get to get in by a secret passage.
Yeah.
Hassan began to attract young men from the surrounding countryside between the ages of 12 and 20, particularly those that had marked out as possible material for the production of killers, so potential assassins. Every day he held court, a reception at which he spoke of the delights of paradise. And at certain times he caused droughts of sporific nature to be administered to tens or dozens of youths, and when half dead with sleep, he had them conveyed on to the several palaces and apartments of the gardens. Upon awakening from this state of lethargy, their senses were struck by all the delightful objects, each perceiving himself surrounded by lovely damsels, singing, playing, and attracting his regards by the most fascinating caresses, serving him also with delicious viands and exquisite wines, until intoxicated with excess and enjoyment amidst actual rivers of milk and wine, he believed himself assuredly in paradise, and felt an unwillingness to relinquish its delights. I guess so.
Yeah.
When 4 or 5 days of this had passed, they were thrown once more into a state of solemnity, when carried out of the garden. Upon being carried into his presence and questioned by him, this is Hassan, as to where they had been, their answer was, in paradise, through the favor of your highness. And Then, before the whole court, who listened to them with eager astonishment and curiosity, they gave circumstantial account of the scenes at which they had been witnesses. The chief thereupon, addressing them, said, "We have the assurance of our prophet that he who defends his Lord shall inherit paradise, and if you show yourself to be devoted to the obedience of any order, that happy lot awaits you." So he basically got him high with hash. We'll find out that a little bit later. Yeah. Gets him high, gets him drunk, gets him sexed up, sends them into a room where they're just getting sung to and massaged and fed grapes and.
Well, yeah, basically he goes out into these villages, kidnaps these kids.
Yeah.
And brings them when they're half asleep and probably doped up, and then they wake up and they're like, "Oh, I'm in paradise," and he's like, "Yes, you are in paradise, and only I can give that to you." And they're like, "Well, we definitely want to go back." Yeah. So he's like,
"Why wouldn't you
follow me?"
Isn't that like, and that's kind of like one of the tactics that they use for Scientology. Mm-hmm. Like they promise you, if you give yourself to us, we'll promise you fame and wealth, and you'll have. You'll get overall. You can get. They give them a taste of it too.
Yeah.
They give them they get them a role in a movie, or they'll do something to help them out.
Yeah, exactly.
They're so embedded into Hollywood.
Yeah. So this is interesting. It says suicide was at first attempted by some, but the survivors were early told that only in the obedience of Hassan's orders could give them the key to paradise. So these guys were like, "This is awesome. I want to die right now so I can get there.
Why go through all the trouble of serving this dude? I'll just take off myself." I wonder if So is this? I need to study Islamic history a little bit, but I'm always told that when like today, when there's a terrorist attack and they somebody they martyr themselves, if you will, that they have paradise waiting with 70 virgins, right? Isn't that
72? Yeah.
72 virgins, and isn't that do you think that's where this comes from?
Well, no, because Muhammad actually talked about that way earlier.
Oh, did he? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know the.
Yeah, so basically, what this guy's doing is. Because he says right here, he said, "No, not under the orders of Muhammad." He said, "Only I can give them to you." So they're already brought up in the secret teaching that this guy is the correct.
Beyond Muhammad.
Well, yeah. So he's the next coming, and he says, "I can get it if you obey me. I'm the key to paradise."
Yeah.
So it says in the 11th century, it was not only credulous Persian peasants who would have to believe such things were true. Even among more sophisticated people, the reality of the gardens and auras of paradise were completely accepted. True, a good many Sufis preached that the garden was allegorical, but that still left more than a few people who believed that they could trust the evidence of their senses. So these people are like, no, it's not really just an allegory. And they're like, "No, we've been there. Yeah, I was there. That's real."
I tasted the wine. I seen the virgins.
Yeah, exactly.
Although they're not virgins anymore.
Right. An Ancient Art of Imposture by Abdel Rahman of Damascus gives away another trick of Hassan's. He had a deep, narrow pit sunk into the floor of his audience chamber.
This is funny.
Yeah. When one of his disciples stood in this in such a way that his head and neck alone were visible above the floor. Around the neck was placed a circular dish in two pieces which fitted together with a hole in the middle. This gave the impression that there was a severed head on a metal plate standing on the floor. In order to make the scene more plausible, Hassan had some fresh blood poured around the head on a plate.
Ew.
Now certain recruits were brought in. "Tell them," commanded the chief, "what thou hast seen." The disciple then described the delights of paradise. "You have seen the head of a man who died, whom you all knew. I've reanimated with him to speak with his own tongue." Later, the head was treacherously severed in real earnest and struck for some time somewhere that the faithful would see it. The effect of this conjuring trick plus murder increased the enthusiasm for martyrdom to the required degree. So basically, yeah.
Can you imagine being that guy? They're like, "Okay, we have a job for you. You're going to have to stand in this hole. We're going to put a carpet over your head. Then we're going to have your head and neck sticking out around this plate with some blood. Just talk. When I ask you questions, just answer the questions. Don't say anything else. This is an easy job. It's an easy job, Yeah, do this, and we'll send you one night in the paradise room or whatever, And then next thing you know, his head's getting lopped off.
Yeah, because they had to do it for real. They had to actually prove and leave it somewhere everyone would find. They're like, no, yeah, it actually happened.
He said what? I saw his head talking. It talked.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you start to see who this guy is. He just is, very much after Muhammad himself, is just wants warriors.
Yeah.
And, at the very beginning of when we started reading, it came off that literally this guy, and there's another incident when he does it, but he just pointed at some guy on the castle, and the guy just waved to him and jumped. Just killed himself.
Threw himself off the top of
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Later, there are many documented instances of the recklessness of the Fidayin, who are the devotees of the Ishmaelis. One witness being a Westerner who was treated a century later to a similar spectacle to which that had appalled the envoy of Malik Shah. Henry, Count of Champagne, reports that he was traveling in 1194 through Ishmaeli territory. The chief sent some persons to salute him and begged that on his return he would stop and partake of the hospitality of the castle. The count accepted the invitation. As he returned, the great missionary advanced to meet him, showed him every mark of honor, and let him view his castles and fortresses. Having passed through several, they came at length to one of the two towers which rose to an exceeding height. I gave it away. I didn't notice the next paragraph.
Yeah.
On each tower stood two sentinels clad in white. There, said the chief, pointing to them, they obey me far better than the subjects of your Christians obey their Lord. Wow. These guys obey me far better than the subjects of your Christians obey their lords. And at a given signal, two of them flung themselves down and were dashed to pieces. If you wish, said he to the astonished count, all my white ones shall do the same. The benevolent count shrank from the proposal and candidly avowed that no Christian prince could ever presume to look for such obedience from his subjects. When he was departing, with many valuable presents, the chief said to him meaningly, if by means of these trusty servants I get rid of the enemies of our society. So he said, basically, these guys, all of them will kill themselves for me.
Yeah.
And these are the guys that
don't get any ideas.
Yeah, don't get any ideas, yeah. Further details of the mentality of Hassan are given in what is supposed to be an autobiographical account of his early days, and it probably is in fact such, because the method of his conversion does seem to follow the pattern which has been observed in fanatics of whatever religious or political persuasion. He was, he says, reared in the belief of the divine right of the imams by his father. He early met an Ishmaeli missionary with whom he argued strenuously against the emirs, which is a emir as the missionary.
Yeah.
His particular form of the creed. Then sometime later he went through a bout of severe illness in which he feared to die and began to think that the Ishmaeli doctrine might really be the road to paradise and redemption. If he died unconverted, he might be damned. Thus it was seen that as soon as he recovered, he sought out another Ishmaeli propagandist, Abu Najam, and then others. Eventually he went to Egypt to study the creed at the headquarters. So that gives some more context into where he was. So he almost dies, and on his, what he thinks is going to be his deathbed, he goes, basically, those guys might be right, and I want to make sure that I do get to paradise. So that's why he actually converted in the first place, which is interesting. Yeah. So he's like, I'd rather be safe and sorry,
Yeah. Well, I love it. It's kind of funny to me because like, I think it shows. I mean, if we can break from this, but I think it shows in every human heart there's a longing for a belonging, a place. And I think it's that whole verse in Ecclesiastes where God has placed eternity within the hearts of men. And I think that when I think about that, this just kind of proves that at some level that everyone's looking for that place. Mm-hmm. It's like that beacon that God's placed in every person that's like calling out. And so the right person comes around, or the wrong person comes around in this situation, points them to the wrong direction. But because of that longing for eternal connection, like I just want to make it to paradise. That's what I know. That's what I'm made for. Even though their idea of paradise and also too, like when I think about this, one of the reasons that these secret societies or these it's really a cult of Islam could take off is because there was a cultural, like, there's cultural Christianity today. Yeah. One of the reasons that cults in the 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s really emerged and got traction is because our culture was very rooted in cultural Christianity. Yeah. So they had a base to work with where people had a knowledge already, but they just were not discerning. Yeah. And I think that's the same situation here. Yeah. Where they are, what part of the world, how Islam was already, it had been about 300 years in, like, because it came around like 700 AD.
Yeah, 600s, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like the late 600s. So here we are in the, 1000s? Yeah. So yeah, it'd been around a couple hundred years. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to depart there. Cool. Just my little narrative.
He was received with honor, so he goes to look for the headquarters in Egypt. So he was received with honor by the caliph due to his former position at the court of Malik Shah, In order to increase his own importance, the high officials of the court made a good deal of public play of the significance of the new convert, but this fact seemed in the end to help Hassan more than it did them. So they're basically building this guy up. Oh yeah, this is, like Scientology. Oh, we got Tom Cruise. Like, oh, we got the new guy.
Yeah, we got Hassan.
Yeah. But again, he only did this for his own ends. He entered into political intrigue and was arrested, then confined in a fortress. No sooner had he entered the prison than a minaret collapsed. Oh, I had a brain fart there. And in some unexplained way, this was interpreted as an omen that Hassan was in reality a divinely protected person. I love how it just says, and for some reason they just thought, because this thing collapsed, it's his fault because he's in prison at the same time. So
right.
It's because we imprisoned him.
Yeah.
So the Caliph, hurriedly making Hassan a number of valuable gifts, had him put aboard a ship sailing for northwest Africa. This gave him the funds which he was to use for setting up his paradise, and also, through some quirk of fate, the disciples whom he sought. So basically,
this is the backstory of how he made that paradise.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So he gets pissed off at his friends. He's like, I'm going to Egypt. He gets sick, and this is filling in that story. And eventually, he gets this money. He gets this, he gets these followers. So it's kind of funny that.
And I guess all along he's crafting the trade of
exactly.
the secret society, and he's working out all of the 9 degrees of.
Yeah, in the back of his mind.
Yeah.
A tremendous storm blew up, terrifying the captain, crew, and passengers alike. Prayers were held, and Hassan was asked to join. He refused. The storm is my doing. How can I pray that it abate? He asked. I have indicated the displeasure of the Almighty. If we sink, I shall not die, for I am immortal. If you want to be saved, believe in me, and I shall subdue the winds. At first the offer was not accepted. Presently, however, when the ship seemed to be on the point of capsizing, the desperate passengers came to him and swore eternal allegiance. Hassan was still calm and continued so until the storm abated. The ship was then driven onto the seacoast of Syria, where Hassan disembarked, together with 2 of the merchant passengers who became his first real disciples. It's just funny how he is so bought into it.
Yeah.
That he's just like,
I'm eternal.
Well, yeah, he totally doesn't even,
I am the storm.
Yeah, exactly. Pulling some Jesus analogies at the time.
Yeah, it reminded me too of in Acts when the Apostle Paul was on a boat and the storms were so bad they're throwing stuff overboard. And he's like, an angel came to me last night and told me that no one's going to die.
Yeah.
So even if it breaks up, you're going to live, but you have to listen to me.
Yeah, but I was also thinking of that one where, is it all the disciples are on the ship and Jesus? There's like that. The storm and Jesus is just asleep.
Yeah.
And they're like, Jesus, wake up. And he's like, don't worry about it.
And then he's finally like, you guys have no faith. And he like rebukes the wind and waves and it stops.
Yeah. So it's funny. So they capsized. These people believe in him. He's got his first devotees.
Yeah.
Hassan was not ready for the fulfillment of his destiny as he saw it. For the time being, he was traveling under the guise of a missionary of the Caliph in Cairo. From Aleppo, he went to Baghdad, seeking a headquarters where he would be safe from interference and where he yet could become powerful enough to go into Persia if the road led him, traveling through the country, making converts to his ideas, which were still apparently strongly based on the secret doctrines of the Egyptian Ismailis. Everywhere he created a really devoted disciple. He bade him to stay and try to enlarge the circle of his followers. He didn't take him with him.
Right.
Converted people said, stay here, start converting other people.
He's church planting.
Exactly. These circles became hatching grounds for the production of self-sacrificers, the initiates who were drawn from the ranks of the most promising ordinary converts. Thus, it was that miniature training centers, modeled after the abode of learning, were within a very few months of his return to the homeland. So they set up really quickly.
Yeah.
These training things.
Yeah.
During his travels, a trusted lieutenant, one Hussein Kahini, reported that the Iraqi district where the fortress of Alamut was situated seemed to be an ideal place for proselytism. Oh my gosh. My mouth is getting... Most of the ordinary people of that place, in fact, had been persuaded into the Ismailis. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I haven't read this much out loud. I can keep going.
Okay.
Ismaili, whatever. The only obstacle was the governor, Ali Mahdi, who looked upon the Caliph of Baghdad as his spiritual and temporal lord. The first converts were expelled from the country. Before many months, however, there were so many Ismailis among the populace that the governor was compelled to allow them to return. So he's just building up people, just building up an army.
Yeah.
Hassan, though, he would not broke. So he wouldn't give in.
Yeah.
The prospective owner of the Alamut decided to try a trick. He offered the governor 3,000 pieces of gold for the amount of land which could be encompassed by the hide of an ox. So he basically says, I'll buy this land if, the skin of an ox can cover it.
Yeah.
And I'll give you 3,000 pieces of gold.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. So when Mahdi agreed to such a sale, Hassan produced the skin, cut it into the thinnest possible thongs, and joined them together to form a string which encompassed the castle of Alamut. Although the governor refused to honor any such bargain, Hassan produced an order from a very highly placed official of the Seljuk rulers, ordering that the fortress to be handed over to Hassan for 3,000 gold pieces. It turned out that this official himself was a secret follower of the Sheikh of the Mountain.
There you go.
So he's already got people in political power at the time.
Well, this is how he acquires the land.
Yep.
He's got the gold.
Tried tricking him, and then he had his backup guy helping.
Yeah, that was pretty. He's a sneaky dude.
He is sneaky.
This guy Hassan.
Yeah, the year was AD 1090. Hassan was now ready for the next part of his plan. He attacked and routed the troops of the emir, the missionary, who had been placed in the governorship of the province, and wielded the people of the surrounding districts into a firm band of diligent and trustworthy workers and soldiers, answerable to him alone. Within 2 years, the vizier Nazim ul-Mulk had been stabbed in the heart by an assassin sent by Hassan, and the Emperor Malik Shah, who dare send troops against him, died in grave suspicion of poison. So now he had his old friends killed. Mm-hmm. Hassan's revenge upon his class fellow was to make him the very first target of his reign of terror. With the king's death, the whole realm was split up into warring factions. For long, the assassins alone retained their cohesion. In under a decade, they had made themselves masters of all Persian Iraq, and they had many forts throughout the empire. This they did by forays, direct attack, and the poison dagger, and in any manner in which seemed expedient. The Orthodox religious leaders pronounced one interdict after another against their doctrines, all to no effect. So
yeah,
the religious leaders were like, don't listen to these people, don't follow him. And they're like, doesn't even matter, man.
Yeah.
He's just killing everybody, taking power. By now, the entire loyalty of the Ismailis under him had been transferred from the caliph to the personality of the Sheikh of the Mountains, who became the terror of every prince in that part of Asia, the Crusaders' chiefs included. Despite and despising fatigues, danger, and tortures, the assassins gleefully gave their lives whenever it pleased the great master, who required them either to protect himself or to carry out his mandates of death. The victim having been pointed out, the faithful, clothed in a white tunic with a red sash, the colors of innocence and blood, went on their mission without being deterred by distance or danger. Having found the person they sought, they awaited the favorable moment for slaying him, and their daggers seldom missed their aim. This is funny. This is interesting. Richard the Lionheart was at one time accused of having asked the Lord of the Mountain, to have Conrad of Montferrat killed, a plot which was carried out thus. 2 assassins allowed themselves to be baptized and placed themselves beside him, seeming intent only on praying. But when the favorable opportunity presented itself, they stabbed him, and one took refuge in the church. But hearing that the prince had been carried off still alive, he again forced himself into Montferrat's presence and stabbed him a second time, and then expired without a complaint amidst refined tortures. So they caught him. So he just stabbed him again. They tortured him, and he died.
Yeah.
But he didn't complain. He was completely into it. I mean, he was ready to die.
Yeah, paradise awaits, my man.
The Order of the Assassin had perfected their method of securing the loyalty of human beings to an extent and on a scale which has seldom been paralleled. The assassins carried on the battle on 2 fronts. They fought whichever side the crusade. There you go. They fought whichever side in the crusade served their purposes. At the same time, they continued the struggle against the Persians. The son and successor of Nazim al-Mulk was laid low by an assassin dagger. The Sultan, who had succeeded his father Malik Shah and gained power over most of his territories, was marching against them. One morning, however, he awoke with an assassin weapon struck neatly into the ground near his head. Within it was a note, warning him to call off the proposed siege of Alamut. He came to terms with the assassins, powerful ruler though he undoubtedly was. They had what amounted to a free hand in exchange for a pact by which they promised to reduce their military power. Hassan lived for 34 years after his acquisition of Alamut. On only 2 occasions since had he ever left his room, yet he ruled an invisible empire as great and as fearsome as any man before or since. He seemed to realize that death was almost upon him, and calmly began to make plans for the perpetual continuance of the Order of the Assassins.
So that's kind of the story of the origin of the Assassins.
And this is the origin story of one of the first secret society within a culture that was carrying out these assassinations.
Yeah.
And we could probably continue the next chapter. Later on, it's already a long time, but
yeah.
It does get really interesting when it gets into more of the battles that happen. And basically, I do want to find this point, but go ahead and what you're going to say.
What I was going to say is that, like, I think you touched on this earlier on. I'm not positive, but you said basically a lot of what they did with the initiations, the rites, the way that they would, the secret knowledge that was involved and how you would gain it, all of that is transferable into all of these modern day secret societies that we see.
Yeah, how about I'll read some.
Apart from an army
yeah, exactly.
of assassins.
I was going to say, it's really interesting. It said that the word assassin itself, so as-in in Arabic signifies guardians.
Yeah.
And so that's where we get the word assassin from. It says some commentators have considered this to be the true origin of the word guardians of the secrets. Mm-hmm. So basically, they were the guardians of these secrets, and assassins was the name of guardians. So, and they did all these killings. Yeah. So that's where we get the word assassins from.
What's funny is, like, all of their killings were done in advancement of the society.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that was the only thing that they worried themselves about or concerned themselves with was the advancement of the society, or whatever was best for the society, for the cult,
Exactly.
So, yeah, man, I mean, I think that's pretty cool to have an origin story, and then it's going to grow from this. So, as we go through, and we're probably not going to be reading, 8-10 pages of pages every time we do a secret society podcast on here, but I think it was important for us to do this on the first one because it's going to give us a good groundwork of why things develop and how things develop. The key people are hard to really, they're all these Arabic, Persian people that we don't even know how to pronounce their name, much more anything about them or why they're significant, historically.
I did want to read, I'll finish this up with what the author asserts at the beginning, that they think they've died out and everything. So I'll read a little bit about the end and basically some proof that this secret society of assassins basically didn't die out right away. So it says, copying each other, historians have asserted that assassinism died 600 years ago. Now and again, however, fresh facts of their continued existence still come to light. In the 18th century, an Englishman, the British Council at Aleppo in Syria, was at pains to make this better known. Some authors assert, he writes, that these people were entirely extirpated in the 13th century by the Tartan. But I, who have lived so long in this infernal place, will venture to affirm that some of their spawn still exists in the mountains that surround us. For nothing is so cruel, barbarous, and execrable that is not acted, and even gloried in, by these cursed Gordons. The assassins were widely dispersed throughout Asia, and the rise of the thugs, which is another interesting one, the secret society of assassination of India, followed the Mongol invasion of Persia. So basically, this other group called the thugs did the same kind of stuff in India after these guys, after the expansion of the Persian Empire into India.
And most people don't realize that in the 90s, there was another one that emerged called the Bone Thugs in Harmony.
Exactly.
They were in the entertainment, they were assassins of lyrical assassins.
Lyrical assassins.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says, indeed, at least one of these thug recognition signals, which was Ali Ba Salam, indicates salutations to Ali, the ascendant of the Prophet and the most greatly revered of all the assassins. So in India, their recognition signal is one that gives
a nod to Ali.
a nod to Ali.
The guy that started this whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Ismailis, not all of them recognizing the one chief, reside in places as far apart as Malaya, I think it's Malaysia, East Africa, and Ceylon. They would not necessarily feel that they are assassins in the same sense as the extremists who follow the old sheiks of the mountains. But at least some of them revere the descendants of the lords of Alamut to the extent of deification. The modern phase of Ismailism, dates from 1810 when the French council at Aleppo found that the assassins in Persia recognized as their divinely inspired chief a reputed descendant of the fourth Grand Master of Alamut, who then lived at Kek, a small village between Isfahan and Tehran. This Shah Kala is what it said, was revered almost as a god and credited with the powers of working miracles to followers of Kala would, when he pared his nails, fight for the clippings in the water in which he washed because it became holy water. The sect next to appear to the public gaze through an odd happening. In 1866, a law case was decided in Bombay, which is in India. There is in that city a large community of commercial men known as the Khojas. A Persian, the record tells us, Aja Khan Melahati, had sent an agent to Bombay to claim for the Khojas the annual tribute due from them to him, and amounting to about £10,000. The claim was resisted, and the British court was appealed by the Aja Khan. Sir Joseph Arnold investigated his claim. The Aja proved his pedigree, showing that he had descended in a direct line from the fourth Grand Master of Alamut, and Sir Joseph declared it proved, and that it was further demonstrated by the trial that the Khojas were member of an ancient sect of the Assassins, to which sect they had been converted 400 years before by an Ishmaelite missionary, who composed a work which was remained in the sacred book of the Khojas. This is interesting too. In the first Afghan war, the then Aja Khan contributed a force of light cavalry to the British forces. For this he was awarded a pension. It says Hidi in his book, History of the Arabs, notes that the assassin sect known as the Khojas and the Malwas gave over a tenth of their revenue to the Aja Khan, who spends most of his time as a sportsman between Paris and London. And I really like this last paragraph as to why we're even talking about these guys, because it's not really, upon hearing, you're like, that's kind of whatever. The influence of this new form of organization and training, as well as initiatory techniques of the assassins, upon later societies has been remarked by a number of students. So they're talking about the organization and the training and the ways of initiation from these first guys. It says that the Crusaders knew a good deal about the Ismailis, as shown from the detailed descriptions of them which survive. S. Amir Ali, an Asian of considerable repute, goes further in his assessment. From the Ismailis, the Crusaders borrowed their conception, which led to the formation of all of the secret societies, religious and secular, of Europe. The institutions of the Templars and the Hospitallers, the Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuits, founded by Ignatius Loyola, composed of a body of men whose devotion to their cause can hardly be surpassed in our time. The ferocious Dominicans and the milder Franciscans may all be traced either to Cairo or to Alamut. The Knights Templar, especially with their system of Grand Masters, Grand Priors, and religious devotees, and their degrees of initiation, bear the strongest analogy to the Eastern Ismailis, whatever it is.
Ismailis.
So that's kind of really interesting that these guys that started out in in the desert in Syria and Egypt, taking this this sect of Islam, making it into a cult, eventually spread. They helped the Crusaders, and the Crusaders, when they go back to France or England or all those places, they worked with these assassins. And so basically these guys are super important, to kind of sum it up, because they set the structure and they set the bar for what a secret society should look like. They give the template for all other secret societies.
Yeah.
And they spread so far back in that time period.
Well, and what's amazing is, so it comes from the Middle East into Europe, because the Europeans take it back after the Crusades, and then Europe sends it exports it to America. So like every couple hundred years, it makes a leap across a new culture, a new continent.
Yeah.
And now you have the version of it is today is very different than what it was back then. But it was related to money and power. Always money and power. So what was Hassan's deal? He wanted to be in power. Right? It goes all the way back to the original deal with his two friends. If one of you guys gets into power, then, help me out, whatever. And then it carries on from there. So it's just kind of funny how that's how it's always connected to power and money. That phrase, they always say, follow the money, right? You can figure out what's going on. So Alamut is the place, right? The place. That's cool. Where is that? Like in modern day Iraq? I wonder where that is.
It's Syria.
Syria, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I'll have to see if I can find it.
If we can find the palace.
Well, I just would like to know what it looks like, where it is, But anyways, cool, man. Well, that's cool. We got a baseline now to build off of and see how it's going to evolve into where it's going to evolve and all that through the rest of this cool reference book. Man, that's awesome.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So you have been initiated to the first degree of secret societies through the All Out War podcast. Oh man. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, man, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I thought this is our podcast, so we get to talk about whatever we want.
We can.
So
yeah.
I thought this was really fascinating, and I had heard about the assassins actually in a terrorism class.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so they were real deal.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. You can see the teachings fitting, like how they kind of adapted, like where they pulled from to put their weird theology together, or whatever you want to call it, their belief system.
Yeah. But it's also just, it was a death cult. He had these people completely brainwashed to the point that they would commit suicide anytime.
Yeah. And what's also interesting too is like those 9 degrees that he had to go through originally, that those 9 degrees, the way they dismantle every other like solid belief system, like, we're going to lump Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Peter, Muhammad, everybody into the same boat.
Yeah.
And we're going to label it all as they had secret knowledge and they were just on the higher plane, which you're trying to get to. And that's what made them special.
Yeah.
And take away, really the reason that they were what they were and the impact that they had.
Yeah. Because then
how evil that is.
It goes on, it takes away, there's no religion.
Right.
And then there's no thought. It's only action.
Right.
And then it's not even your own action. It's the action of the imam.
It's a cause.
The sheik of the mountain.
Yeah.
It's whatever he wants.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Gosh.
They perfected
and he started
brainwashing.
Yeah. That's insane.
Just like Muhammad did. Muhammad did a lot of the same. You look back in the origins of Islam itself. Look at the call to prayer. The fact that you have to do that.
Yeah. 5 times a day or something?
Yeah, but the fact that they also blow the sound music, and Muhammad did this all the time in his camps. They would just blast music and sound of just prayers and prayers and prayers and prayers. And so the most devoted, you'd pray all the time.
Yeah.
And the use of sound in this very auditory way. Jim Jones did that at Jonestown. They just had speakers of him talking. And that's what Muhammad did too. They would just, not tapes of him, but they would just be
right.
playing these prayers and saying how awesome Muhammad is inside his own.
Just reciting them. Yeah.
Yeah, inside his own thing. And that's what Jim Jones did at Jonestown and got,
Yeah.
I mean, most people, I think, know what happened there.
Drink the Kool-Aid, baby.
Yeah. Even though now has come out, there's some crazy conspiracies if you want to go into that.
Yeah, maybe another time.
Yeah. But I was going to say, most of them were probably murdered. There wasn't many that actually drank the Kool-Aid.
Oh, murdered, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about that too.
Yeah, they just came and there was like needle marks on them, or they were shot in the head.
Right, yeah.
So
forced it through a
but the techniques coming out of Islam have been used ever since.
Which came out of Satan.
So there you go.
The original. All right. Well, this has been another episode of All Out War. We are so thankful you stuck it out. Hope you learned something. And watch out for those secret societies. They're coming after you. We'll catch you next time on All Out War.